From setting a BMW on fire, to the beatdown of Walt Jr.'s bully, here are the most badass moments in Breaking Bad. Starting with blowing up Tuco's office. When Jesse and Skinny Pete tried to sell meth to Tuco Salamanca, not only did he steal their meth, but he also violently beat up Jesse, because that happens all the time. And then after visiting Jesse at the hospital, Walt understood that a polite approach wouldn't work with someone so unpredictable. He showed up at Tuco's office with a bag of what appeared to be crystal meth and demanded
$50,000.
How you figure that?
35 for the pound of meth you stole, and another 15 for my partner's pain and suffering.
Tuco laughed and refused to take him seriously. That's when Walt revealed just how serious he was.
You got one part of that wrong. This is not meth.
It turned out the bag of meth was fulminated mercury, a highly unstable chemical capable of producing a huge explosion. With the threat of blowing up the entire bag, Tuco had no choice but to meet Walter's demands.
You got balls. I'll give you that. All right. I'll give you your money.
A high school chemistry teacher sick with cancer had just scared the shit out of one of Albuquerque's most dangerous drug dealers. But sometimes Walt actually does do something good for his family. Kicking Flynn's bully. Walt, Skyler, and Flynn went shopping for clothes, and Flynn Walt Jr. was trying on a new pair of pants. But in the dressing room, Flynn struggled to wear them on his own, and Walt stepped in to help him. When they came back out to check the fit in front of the mirror, a group of high school kids started laughing and mocking Flynn because of his cerebral palsy.
My big boy pants. Mommy, could you zip up my big boy pants?
Seeing his son humiliated, Walt decided to take matters into his own hands.
Hey, Mommy, I think I pinched a loaf in my brand new big boy pants.
What are you doing?
It honestly looked like Walt was about to get jumped by all of them, but somehow he ended up being the one they were scared of.
Mess you up, man.
Well, you'll have one shot. You better make it good.
Come on, let's get out of here. Let's go.
Psycho.
This was one of the first times Walt used his anger in front of his family, revealing a darker side of himself, just like the time Walt decided to blow up Ken's car. Walt blows up Ken's BMW. Ken is one of the few characters we see in both Better Call Saul and Breaking Bad, and in both shows, he's exactly the same person, loud, arrogant, constantly bragging into his Bluetooth headset. We first meet him in Better Call Saul, where Jimmy and Kim pull off one of their scams on him. They pretend to be rich siblings and convince him to order an entire bottle of one of the most expensive tequilas in the bar.
We heard you talking about stocks.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so a question, if you could settle a debate between me and my sister.
You know what? We probably shouldn't even
I
bother.
wouldn't normally do this, right? But we need an expert. This guy sounds like he knows his stuff.
But Ken's misery takes an even bigger turn when he steals Walt's parking spot at the bank without even looking at him and jumps out of his BMW convertible with the Ken Wins plate. And on any other day, Walt might have just ignored him, but Walt had just been diagnosed with cancer, remember? And when he sees Ken again at a gas station, something in Walt finally snaps.
Come on, move your ass.
When Ken goes inside, Walt calmly walks over and places the squeegee between the battery terminals. It causes a short circuit, and moments later, the car explodes as he walks away. The way he walks away calmly with an entire car blows up behind him is like such a badass thing, and after that, Walt really starts to take on the Heisenberg role, and we got this scene. Stay out of my territory. Walt was shopping at the hardware store when he spotted a cart full of acetone, lye, and other suspicious supplies. It didn't take long for him to realize someone was planning to cook meth right in his neighborhood.
Someone cooked here.
When one of the guys came back with boxes of matches, Walt pointed out that they were the wrong kind and buying everything from the same store would draw attention.
You're buying the wrong matches.
What?
Those matches, they're the wrong kind. And don't buy everything in one place. Do it piecemeal.
The guy panicked and ran off, leaving Walt watching with a mix of amusement and satisfaction. Instead of finishing his shopping, Walt dropped what he was buying and went straight to the parking lot, where he spotted the same guy and his buff-as-hell partner. And I don't know about y'all, but I'm not walking up to that guy. But without hesitation, he walked up to them alone.
Hey, there he is. That's the guy.
Stay out of my territory.
And it was wild to see him speak like someone who had been a kingpin for years, commanding respect with nothing but his presence. But if this moment showed Walt acting like the one in charge, the real turning point came when he dropped one of the most iconic lines in television history. "I am the one who knocks." After Gail's death, Walt gets paranoid, trying to piece together what Gus's next move is. And when Jesse doesn't show up at the lab, Walt thinks his life is in danger, and he leaves Skyler a voicemail telling her he loved her. It felt out of character, and when Skyler listened to it a few times, she realized he sent it because something was wrong.
I just wanted to say that I was thinking about you and the kids. And I love you.
After reading an article about Gail's murder, Skyler became convinced that whoever killed Gail could come after Walt next. When he woke up, she asked him if he was in danger.
Who killed him? Was it the people you work for?
Definitely not.
Was it somebody who, at some point, might want to do the same to you?
She even suggested that maybe they should go to the police, but she unknowingly said something that cut straight into Walter's pride.
You're not some hardened criminal, Walt. You are in over your head. That's what we tell them. That's the truth.
That is not the truth.
Of course it is. School teacher, cancer, desperate for money.
Okay, we're done here.
Roped into working for, unable to even quit.
That was when Walt showed her a side that she had never seen before.
Who are you talking to right now? Who is it you think you see? Do you know how much I make a year? I mean, even if I told you, you wouldn't believe it.
Now, I don't know about y'all, but I think she knows Walt. She's the one who launders your money, after all.
No, you clearly don't know who you're talking to, so let me clue you in. I am not in danger, Skyler. I am the danger. A guy opens his door and gets shot, and you think that of me? No. I am the one who knocks.
That was when poor Skyler realized that the man standing in front of her wasn't the same husband who she once married. But Walt took things to a whole new level when he ditched the old Aztec and picked up 2 new cars. Buying a new car and blowing it up. Walt went all out when he bought a brand new 2009 Dodge Challenger for his son Walter Jr. and a Bentley for himself, because why not? But Skyler immediately stepped in and insisted he return the Challenger to the dealership to avoid questions about their sudden wealth.
That car directly contradicts our story. And if you're so invested in protecting this family, it means protecting the story. What were you thinking, Walt?
Now, I don't know about you guys, but I would have bought a blimp. How many people do you know owns a blimp? Walter White with a meth blimp. Anyway, continuing. She even managed to convince the dealership to take it back with only an $800 restocking fee. But instead of handing the car back, Walt took it out to the empty parking lot, ripped donuts like he didn't care about a single consequence, and then set it straight into a concrete divider. And when it got stuck, he set it on fire by lighting papers from the owner's manual in the gas tank and called for a cab.
Yes, hello. I need a cab. Yes, thank you. The name is White.
He watched the Challenger blow up while waiting for his ride, completely unfazed by the chaos he had caused.
Oh, how long do you think that would take? No, I'm sure he'll see me. Thank you.
But we can't forget one of my favorite moments when Walt stood up to Bogdan in a way nobody saw coming. Wipe this down. Walt had just learned he had terminal lung cancer, and the weight of that news was crushing him. Exhausted and overwhelmed, he went to work at the car wash, lost in thought and trying to process everything. Then Bogdan, with his giant eyebrows, walked in and immediately started ordering him around.
Come on, man, I'm short-handed. I need you outside to do some wipe downs. Come on.
Walt had finally reached his limit, and he snapped at Bogdan in pure frustration.
Fuck you, Bogdan.
What?
I said fuck you! And your eyebrows! Wipe down this!
It's a short scene, but it's incredibly relatable. Everyone's had a moment where they wanted to say that to their boss, and that was Walt taking control for the first time. And later, that need for control grew into something far more dangerous, especially when he had to tie up loose ends. The prison shankings. After Mike's death, rest in peace, Walt realized he had a serious problem. 10 men in prison, who had previously been paid off to stay silent, now posed a huge risk. If any of them snitched, the DEA could trace his entire operation back to him.
Todd, I think it's time I meet your uncle.
That's when Walt met with Jack and his crew to plan the simultaneous attacks.
This is gonna be fast and quiet. Just boom, boom, boom. You know what I'm saying?
Surgical.
Surgical. That's what it's gotta be.
And that's when Jack insisted the plan couldn't be done within the 2-minute window.
Hey. It can be done, just not the way you want it.
But Walt shut him down in a way no one ever dared to.
It can be done exactly how I want it. The only question is, are you the man to do it? Figure it out. That's what I'm paying you for.
I can only imagine how untouchable Walt felt in this moment. And once Jack understood Walt was serious, he stopped arguing and actually worked out the plan. When the moment came, the entire thing unfolded exactly how Walter demanded, with every hit landing perfectly within the tight window he set. But Walt's ability to command respect wasn't limited to Jack. He even made sure that rival distributors like Declan understood exactly who he was. Say my name. Jesse and Mike tried to stop Walt from ruining the methylamine sale, so they zip-tied him in the lab, but Walt burned through it with a power cable and walked out anyway. I have to admit, that was pretty badass in itself.
You get your $5 million, we both do it, and he gets his methylamine, all right? Just hear him out.
Everybody wins.
Walt, Jesse, and Mike then met Declan and his crew under the impression that he was there to buy methylamine, but they arrived empty-handed, ready to propose an entirely new business arrangement.
Looks like you're about 1,000 gallons light here, Mike. Where's the juice?
Methylamine isn't coming.
Why is that? Who the hell are you?
I'm the man who's keeping it.
Walt wanted Declan to stop producing his own lower quality meth and instead distribute Walter's 99.1% pure blue meth, making it clear that this product was the superior choice in the market.
It's grade school T-ball versus the New York Yankees. Yours is just some tepid, off-brand, generic cola. What I'm making is classic Coke.
When Declan refused, Walt pointed out how he was already using food coloring to fake blue sky, proving he knew its value.
You dye your meth with food coloring to make it look like mine. You already ape my product at every turn.
After seeing Walt's confidence and the boldness of his offer, Declan asked who he was. The conversation that followed convinced him to accept the deal.
Who the hell are you?
I'm the cook.
When Declan still couldn't figure it out, Walt gave him a better hint.
I'm the man who killed Gus Fring.
Cartel got Fring.
You sure?
That was the moment Declan finally realized he wasn't dealing with some random cook.
Now, say my name.
Heisenberg.
You're goddamn right.
I love here how Walt's reputation alone does all of the work. It shows how far he's come from the mild-mannered teacher that we first met. But while Walt could command respect with words in the desert, he wasn't afraid to use deadly force when the situation called for it, as we see with Tomas's killers. Running over Tomas's killers. Tomas, Andrea's younger brother, had been manipulated by 2 dealers in Gus's crew into carrying out hits for them, including the one that killed my man Combo.
It is true that they killed one of your associates. It is possible that they acted rashly. But on the other hand, there was provocation. The man was selling on their territory.
After this, Jesse and Gus arranged a truce that was supposed to keep kids out of the business. But moments later, Tomas was murdered, likely to tie up loose ends and protect Gus's operation. Jesse, he was furious, and he couldn't let it go. He even tried using Wendy to deliver rice and laced burgers to the dealers, but that plan fell apart. After that, he grabbed a gun and went to confront them himself. As he walked up to the corner, the 2 dealers were already standing there, ready for a shootout. When Walt saw the news about Tomas's murder, he immediately knew Jesse would go after the dealers and rushed out before Jesse got himself killed. While Jesse was still shaking and deciding whether to shoot, Walt just drove in like a maniac and got the job done without an ounce of thought. After running over the dealers, Walt decided to double-check by shooting them as well.
Run.
But this wasn't the last time Walt would risk everything to save Jesse. Later, when Jesse was enslaved by Jack and Todd, Walt stepped in once again to get him out. Machine gun finale. Walt knew he had to do something, so he bought an M60 machine gun, as you do, from Lawson, and using a car battery and a garage door opener motor, he built a remotely activated gun turret to fit in the trunk of his car. After parking strategically at the compound, Walt confronted Jack and called him out for breaking his promise. He reminded Jack that he was supposed to kill Jesse, but instead, he had partnered with him.
Him being alive is not him and me being partners. Not by a damn sight. What, you think I'd partner with a rat? Where's that little piece of shit?
He's finishing up a badge.
Well, go get him, bring him here.
Jack did exactly what Walt wanted, and Jesse was brought on in. Walt tackled him to the ground, shielding him, and simultaneously activated the M60 turret hidden in the trunk. The fact that Walt was able to predict every single move and plan for it beforehand was just insane. Bro's playing 4D chess. And after the gunfire ended, to make sure all loose ends were taken care of, Walt confronted Jack, who tried to bargain for his life, but without a second of thought, he ended Jack's life with a single shot to the head.
You want your money, right? Huh? You wanna know where it is? You pull that trigger, you never...
With Jack gone, Walt stepped outside and reached out to the last loose end he had already taken care of. Killing Lydia. Lydia always lived by strict routines, and that routine is exactly what Walt used to trick her.
How did you know to find us here?
10 a.m. Every Tuesday morning, you and I met here.
Earlier in the episode, Walt met Lydia and Todd at the cafe to set up a meeting with Jack. Before she arrived, he swapped out one of the stevia packets with ricin and walked out knowing she'd use it.
Jesus. Did you look at him? You'd be doing him a favor.
Later that night, after Walt killed Jack's entire crew and freed Jesse, Lydia tried calling Todd to make sure Walt was dead, but Walt picked up instead.
How are you feeling? Kind of under the weather? Like you've got the flu? That would be the ricin I gave you. I slipped it into that stevia crap that you're always putting in your tea. Oh my God.
I lived, biznatch. Honestly, it was the perfect end for someone so obsessed with control. Lydia spent the entire series trying to stay safe by planning everything down to the smallest detail, and in the end, the habit she trusted the most was the one that killed her. But also, folks, what about the time Walt became an Olympic athlete of tossing pizzas? The pizza toss. Walt's marriage was at an all-time low, and Skyler had kicked him out after learning the truth about his meth business. When Walt came home to drop off Junior with a family-sized pizza in hand, she refused to even let him inside.
I thought I made myself very clear.
You got dipping sticks.
When Walt realized that dipping sticks weren't going to save his marriage, he walked back towards his car in pure frustration, then suddenly turned around and launched the entire pizza into the air, and somehow it landed perfectly on the roof. The best part was, as I'm sure you know, it wasn't even supposed to happen. Chad Bryan Cranston actually nailed that throw on the first try, and the producers kept it in because it was too iconic to redo.
And I'm furious as Walt goes to his car, and out of frustration, he just heaves it. Only after with the cut do we realize, bang on. First try.
But the next badass moment on our list proves just how far Walt could go when he put his mind to work. The magnet heist. After Gus's death, Walt, Jesse, and Mike faced a big problem. The police had seized a laptop containing surveillance footage of their meth lab.
APD, Northwest Area Command on 2nd. They tagged it, they filed it. It's in the system, and they locked it in their evidence room.
And that's when Jesse pitched the idea of using a giant magnet, yo.
Or what about a magnet?
What magnet? What about it?
Most people would laugh it off, but Walt immediately saw the potential and turned it into a full-scale plan. They went to Old Joe at the junkyard to borrow a truck and fit the massive industrial electromagnet inside, with Walt wiring 21 car batteries in series to power it.
Yeah, bitch! Magnets! Oh!
After testing the setup and confirming it worked, they sneaked into the police station parking lot and carefully positioned the truck against the evidence room wall.
Got it.
When they activated the magnet, the entire evidence room started shaking and metal objects inside flew towards the wall. Walt, determined to make sure the laptop was completely destroyed, increased the magnet's power up to its maximum. But the force was so strong, it literally tipped the truck onto its side against the wall.
Mr. White, let's get out of here.
Just 1 minute.
When Mike later asked how Walt could be so sure the plan worked, his answer was somehow more intimidating than the entire heist.
So you tell me, answer man, did all that even work just now?
Yes. It worked.
How do we know?
Because I say so.
This heist marked one of the first times we saw Walt completely take control. Gus was gone, and instead of keeping a low profile or playing it safe, Walt started acting like the one running the entire operation. But if this moment showed how well he handled under pressure, let's take a look at the time Hank learned Walt's secret. Tread lightly. Walt realized something was off when he couldn't find his copy of Leaves of Grass in the bathroom. He searched everywhere, but it was gone. After checking his car, he discovered a GPS tracker and realized Hank had been keeping tabs on him. Walt drove to Hank's house unannounced, where he tried to keep things casual at first, pretending to make small talk and even joked about Hank's stomach flu. The moment Walt brought up the tracker, the entire vibe shifted.
You're gonna laugh, but I have to ask you about this. Believe it or not, I found this on my car. I mean, it looks just like the GPS tracker that we used on Gus Fring, doesn't it?
Hank closed the garage door behind them, signaling that this was no longer a casual conversation. Hank immediately threw the first punch, slamming Walt against the garage door.
Because you, all along it was you! You son of a bitch.
With the door now closed and nowhere to go, Walt had to regain control of the situation fast.
But the truth is, in 6 months you won't have someone to prosecute. Even if somehow you were able to convince anyone I was capable of doing these things, you and I both know I would never see the inside of a jail cell.
But when Hank told him to get Skyler to bring the kids over to his place, Walt refused and said something that left a hardened DEA agent speechless.
I don't know who you are. I don't even know who I'm talking to. If that's true, if you don't know who I am, then maybe your best course would be to tread lightly.
But long before his face-off with Hank, Walt was already showing just how far his chemistry skills could take him. Thermite barrel heist. When Walt and Jesse realized they couldn't get enough Smurfs to meet their deal with Tuco Salamanca, they decided to switch to a P2P cook and had to steal a barrel of methylamine. They first cleverly trapped a security guard in a porta potty to ensure no one could interfere. Then, with the area clear, Walt used thermite to burn through the lock on the secured warehouse door.
Is this gonna be loud?
Honestly, only Walt could make breaking into a chemical warehouse look like a casual science experiment. But speaking of outsmarting everyone, Walt's next move took his genius and manipulation to a whole new level when he decided to pay Elliot and Gretchen one last visit. The laser pointer bluff. After returning to Albuquerque, Walt needed to secure his remaining $9.72 million for his family in a way that would bypass the government and his own family's refusal to accept blood money. He decided to visit his former business partners, Elliot and Gretchen, and had them move the cash from his car trunk onto a coffee table.
Keep stacking. It'll all fit.
That's all right. Yeah, just throw it on top. Gretchen, would you mind? We don't want to lose any into the furniture.
He then instructed them on what they were supposed to do with it.
On my son's 18th birthday, which is 10 months and 2 days from today, you will give him this money in the form of an irrevocable trust. You will tell him.
When Walt asked if he could trust them, Elliot agreed right away, but Gretchen stayed silent.
I can't trust you to do this. Yes. Absolutely you can.
That's when Walt casually gestured towards their window, and 2 laser dots appeared on each of them.
Don't move, don't dare move a muscle. Just this afternoon, I had an extra $200,000 that I would have loved dearly to leave on top of this table. Instead, I gave it to the 2 best hitmen west of the Mississippi.
Walter White made it clear that even if he didn't make it, the hitmen would still be watching, and if his children didn't get the money, there would be consequences.
A kind of countdown will begin, and then suddenly, you'll hear the scrape of a footstep behind you, but before you can even turn around.
After securing his family's future, he signaled the hitmen to turn off the lasers, quietly left the house. But the best part was that moments later, as you know, Walt picked up the so-called hitmen who were none other than Skinny Pete and Badger, armed with laser pointers.
Oh, yeah, right.
Walt always found a way to get what he wanted, except for GTA 6, no matter who stood in his way, and buying the car wash was one of the clearest examples of that. Walt buys the car wash. After months of earning from cooking meth, Walt needed a legitimate front to launder his earnings, and Skyler suggested buying the A1A car wash.
If you're gonna launder money, Walt, at least do it right. You worked here 4 years. It's a business you understand. It's a story people will believe.
Skyler went to Bogdan and his eyebrows to get a price for the car wash, but he hit her with a ridiculous quote.
Is there a figure you can quote me? One which you think would adequately take
$10 million.
She tried bringing him back down to reality with an offer of $879,000, but Bogdan, still bitter about how Walt quit on him, fired back with an even more outrageous counter.
$20 million. This is the price for Walter White. He broke my air fresheners. He cursed at me and grabbed himself. And now he wants to buy my car wash. But he's not man enough to come in here and face me himself. Instead, he sends his woman.
But when Walt heard that Bogdan called him a coward, things suddenly became personal.
What do you mean, rude about me?
Something along the lines of you weren't man enough to face him yourself.
What?
That you had to send your woman to do your business for you.
I advise against.
It's this one.
Skyler then came up with a brilliant idea that forced Bogdan's hand. Bill Burr, or Kubi, posing as an EPA agent, presented fake water contamination reports and warned Bogdan of enormous fines unless he replaced his entire filtration system, which would cost almost $200,000.
Sorry, same as before.
But this is not right. You cannot shut me down. You cannot do this.
Mr. Walnuts, I've checked your wastewater inside and out. I've checked your runoff gutters, and now out here, more contaminants.
Bogdan had no choice but to call Skyler and accept her offer. When Walt later went alone to finalize the ownership transfer, Bogdan continued his petty taunting.
Can you be tough, Walter?
I'm sure you can handle. And if not, you can always call your wife.
The entire time, Bogdan repeatedly emphasized the business was sold as is, thinking he had the upper hand.
Always sticky.
Yeah, no problem.
As is.
But as Bogdan noticed his very first earned dollar and tried taking it with him,
Many years. Almost forgot.
Bogdan. As is.
there's something so satisfying in see Walt take over the very place that treated him like he was nothing way back in season 1. Walt then smashed the frame and used the dollar to buy a soda from the vending machine. And that's it, folks. Thank you all so much for watching, commenting. This is not AI, I'm a human being, but let us know in the comments below, what was your favorite Breaking Bad moment? Have a good one, and bye!